morning. I've got Stewart Barbour here, and I met Stewart some time ago whenever he was doing a Belfast marathon, and he was out training, and I just couldn't believe this person that I had stumbled across, and I just couldn't believe this guy is just extraordinary in what he thinks out completely outside the box. He doesn't think like a normal person. Stewart, what are you thinking of? In fact, what are you planning to do in the next week?
Well, thank you for the introduction. I thought it was reasonably normal, but anyway. Well, I'm hoping now. I'm hoping that I haven't tried to bite off more than I can chew. But at my age, chewing anything is actually quite difficult. But just before lockdown, I suppose in 2019, I walked from the Titanic Centre to Donegal. I went coast to coast, which was going across the country, and it was 135 miles. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because I met so many wonderful people who stopped me to donate to my charity, which is Cancer Focus. And at the time, I thought, gosh, that is great. What a lot of fun. Raised a lot of money online, but also from meeting folk. And of course, when you think about having crossed the country, I thought, I wonder, could I go from south to north? In other words, I would have walked the length and breadth of Ireland. Now, lockdown came in, everything went on hold, and I'm trying, and I have no idea whether I'll be able to do it or not, is to walk from Mizen Head, which is the most southerly part of Ireland, to Malin Head in Donegal, which is the most northerly part. As the crow flies, it's about 330 miles. I'm not a crow, and I'll not be flying. But I'm hoping to walk it. Don't know how long it'll take, don't know whether I can do it. This is all fingers crossed. But I'm hoping to go via the various towns, etc., so that I will see people and hopefully advertise Cancer Focus. So it will be roughly 400 miles. But I've also got to build in getting lost, wandering about, wondering what I'm doing and why and where I'm going and why. But I'm leaving that open-ended. My biggest concern in the whole thing is I'll be doing it on my own. I have no support team or whatever, because nobody in their right mind would want to spend 2 weeks following, or 3 weeks maybe, following an old fella at 3 miles an hour, and nobody in the right mind would want to walk it either, but that's a separate issue. That is my hope and my intention, but I can make no promises to how it goes. But nought beats a try, and they say that God loves a trier, and I have been described as very trying many times.
You're no stranger, Stewart, to adventure. You have actually run several marathons for Cancer Focus. Over how long?
Well, I've been fundraising for Cancer Focus for the last 5 years.
Right.
I did do some charity marathons for other things before that. But certainly, I think this is a great charity. They not only do they fund research at Queen's, but they also have a great program of helping the people who are suffering from cancer, and also they have backup for carers, and they cover a wide range of activities. And most of their funding, of course, a lot of their funding obviously comes from fundraising and shops, etc. But they, research at Queen's, they help to fund really important cancer research, and that is, I think, makes it very, very worthwhile charity.
Yes. Tell us tell us about this. This friend that you're running along with or carrying. So what have you got here? All your gear. You tell us that you haven't got a support team. So basically, you have to carry everything on your back. So what have we got here?
Well, this is what concerns me, apart from the distance walking, etc. is I have to be self-sufficient. Now, I'm hoping that I will be able at times to get Airbnbs, B&Bs, even cheaper hotels, etc. But when you're on Shanksmere, you've got to be close to something, and you can't just say, well, it's 10 miles away. If you're in the car, you just drive the 10 miles and book into somewhere. I have to be, and that's not easy to do. Especially when I might have problems with my knee, which I have problems with anyway, but if I can't do the sort of mileage per day that I'm hoping to, I can't even really book ahead to someone to say, look, I've come to such and such for, whatever. I nearly always need to be booking at the last minute. So the big worry is that I'm stuck somewhere, so I'm carrying a tent. And that is basically a tent. There's a self-inflating sleeping mat, a sleeping bag, and that makes up a fair bit of what's in there, but also makes up the majority of the weight. But it does leave me not stuck somewhere.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Although, as I say, if I don't use a tent once, I'll be delighted. But I think it's more than likely at times I will be stuck. So a peace of mind. Obviously, then there's change of clothing. It has to be wet weather clothing and dry weather clothing, and everything's kept to an absolute minimum. But unfortunately, it does make this heavy. And when I went for a 14-miler on Saturday last, carrying all this heavy stuff, and the shoulders were getting really tight, which of course gets the back, etc. So I'm actually using these, and I'm hoping that will help to ease the burden on my shoulders. The other problem, of course, when you increase the weight, it actually increases the stress. Sorry, this is all starting very negative, apologies. It increases the stress on the knees, which of course is a problem, but also on the feet, because I now suddenly weigh, instead of 11.5 stone, I'm now weighing 12.5 or whatever. There's 20. Well, when I weighed it there the other day, it's 23 pounds in there, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're carrying for 12 hours a day, it's heavy enough. And I'm hoping to do a marathon a day, if I can.
So if you hit 25 miles a day, you'd be happy bunny.
I would be very pleased at that, because, as I say, again, working on my experience of having gone across the country, I was able to do that, having spent a lot of time, and I hope it's the same this time, thanking people who had stopped me to donate. And you can't just take the money and run. They wanted to tell me why and what and where you're going, blah, blah. So I will lose quite a lot of time doing that, but that's the reason I'm doing it. So I'm not going to, hide from people. I'm going to be there. If they want to stop me, fair enough. And that's why I want to go through the various towns. A, to see people who might donate, or B, there's more of a chance of finding someone to stay. As opposed to, say, cutting through the country and up over the mountains and doing various things where I'd be on my own. I would certainly be able to do more than a marathon a day, I hope, if that was the situation. But that's not the point of the exercise. So I'm working on roughly a marathon.
So we're talking 400 miles plus, possibly, 25 miles a day. We're talking at least 3 weeks?
Well, I'm hoping it'll be slightly less than 3 weeks. I want to be back for a daughter coming back who I haven't seen for a while. But yes, it could be up to 3 weeks. I was hoping a few days less than that, but yeah.
Right. And you're not, I'm trying to be gracious here. You're not exactly a young fella, Stewart.
Well, as I've said before, I have had 70 Christmases. I'll be 70 in October, if I survive this. But I'm 21 up here, and I think people, when you get on a bit, you still think you're a young fella. So yes, that doesn't help. And as I say, without wanting beef, whatever, I am concerned about my knee. I have a bad knee. I've had it for years. But the increase, apart from the steps, it's the increase in the weight, puts more pressure on the joints.
Yes.
Which adds to it. It'll be roughly 1 million steps, but every great journey starts with one. And I'm very confident, I must say, I'll be able to do that one. It's the other 999,000 that worry me, but anyway.
Well, look, Stewart, you people will say, are you mad or are you mental? But you actually, you know, you have prepared, you've done your homework, you've walked east to west, you've done marathons, you're a fit guy, you're not a fool. No, you're not.
Say that again.
You're not. You know, this is not. You are not taking this lightly. And all I can say is, I wish you God's blessing on this, and I wish you all the human blessing that I can possibly give, and God's speed. And if people see you along the way, coming from Mizen Head away down there, give us a run through some of the towns that you'll be coming through.
Well, basically, you know, I'm hoping on Monday to get down to Bantry on my bus pass.
Right.
I'll be trained down, and then from Bantry down to Mizen Head is about 26 odd miles, which I might have to take a taxi to or whatever, because there's no route. I then will walk back, I hope, back to Bantry on my first day. So that'll be roughly the first marathon. After that, it's not quite dead straight, but I will be going more towards the middle of the country, eventually reaching Limerick, and then going on up from Limerick, trying to get into the north. So I'll be cutting in Maguire's Bridge, going through Inniskillen, on up to Strabane, Derry, Buncrana, and then up to Malin Head, which is very northerly top town.
So if you see a blue blob running or walking,
branding, by the way, corporate branding,
running alongside the road, please rub your eyes and please consider pulling into a lay-by safely and waiting for him to approach and stop him and offer him your good cheer and maybe a donation for the charity. Unbelievable, Stewart, unbelievable. I have run out of questions.
Fingers crossed. As I say, my big concern is failure, because I don't like failure.
No.
And I just don't know whether the body will hold up, whether I've never done, as I say, that neck of the woods at all. I don't know it at all, whether I can get on the right road, nothing being busy or dangerous roads, which is another concern.
That's right.
Hopefully I'm very visible. I won't be walking at night. But there's so many unanswered questions. And to quote Johnny Nash from 1972, there are more questions than answers. How
do people, if they can't physically give you a donation, how do they do it online or whatever it is?
Well, there is, it's GoFundMe is a bit like Just Giving, but GoFundMe charge less, and that's why I like it. GoFundMe, and then that comes up. Stewart Barbour is my name, but if you go to GoFundMe and even type in my name, it'll bring up the actual site,
right,
where you can actually donate, and it can be in any currency. They convert it at bank rate, so if you wanted to give, say, £10 and it was in some funny currency, whatever, you will know roughly what it is, and you would give in your own currency and it will be converted. And you know, we'll eventually get I get an email to say you've donated. I will at some stage, no matter who you are, whether I know you or don't know you, I like to write to everybody personally. You will probably just get a thank you from, generic one from the site, but I do like to thank folk, and I've always done so, because it's very decent and generous. There's a lot of good charities out there, there's a lot of people doing stuff, and I'm just another person doing something. So if anybody does, I will be personally thanking you. But possibly when I get back, if I get back, it might be Christmas. I'll certainly be home by Christmas, but I'm not prepared to say which one.
Okay, Stewart. Thank you for giving me this interview, and I just wish you all the best. Boy. I really, really do. I big hugs from me.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Last scene heading to the train station in Belfast.
Dear. Good man.
Thank you very much indeed,
right.
and fingers crossed.
And if you want to keep track of Stuart's progress, I hope to keep up with Stewart on WhatsApp, and he'll let me know what's happening, maybe send me a few photographs, and I will do a series of YouTube videos with those still photographs. So the adventure of Stewart and his north to south run, a walk, stagger from Mizen Head to Malin Head begins. Watch this space.